From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today.
Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Airport Temple is my name. I have Emmanuel Michael joins me this morning to bring you all the juicy stories popping out from the sporting world.
Yeah, good morning to you, Temple, and good morning to our viewers out there.
I will start with the National Youth Games, and of course, though some events were yet to be concluded, as at yesterday, the host Delta State made champions of the 8th National Youth Games after extending its lead on the medals label with 42 gold, 14 silver, and 19 bronze medals. Athletes and officials of the team were in celebration mood at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba. As of Tuesday evening, Team Lagos had overtaken Edo in the battle for the second spot. The later, that is Edo, had maintained the second position from day 2 of the competition, but dropped to third on Tuesday evening. While Team Lagos had 16 gold, 12 silver, and 16 bronze medals. Edo had 15 gold, 7 silver, and 10 as of Wednesday evening. Last year, when Delta hosted the 7th edition of the games, the state topped the medal table with 1 gold, 34 silver, and 11 bronze medals. Let's keep it there. And let me come to you, Mike. Delta State, the host state, leading the medals pack there.
Yes, for me, I think it's no surprise that Delta State is leading the pack in terms of the medals log. I think over the last 8 years right now, they've actually shown that indeed they have what it takes to sustain the momentum. Since 2016, Edo State have been Delta rather have been dominating the national youth game, and it's no surprise, even though when all the activities have come to an end, and even as we get to the climax of this year's national youth game, they have also continued to show that prowess that indeed they are a force to be reckoned with when you talk about the national youth game. I think for me, it's an impressive one, and it is no surprise because they've actually been able to put up structures on ground that can also help their young athletes to continue to develop, and that is why they find it very easy to dominate the national youth games anytime, any day. And coming in second position, just Lagos State, made a muzzling overtaking from Edo out there, pushing them back to third position to take their rightful place in the second position. I think for me, very, very impressive. We still have other state biases who are not doing pretty bad, though they are seated 5th on the log as it is right now. But then we know that Bayelsa State, they are very renowned in terms of their strength when you talk about wrestling. Before the activities come to its end today, I'm sure that Bayelsa and some other states is going to also rack up some more medals to see if we can be able to have a keenly contested finishing out there this evening when the games come to an end.
A keenly contested finishing when the game comes to an end, and that's all we hope to see in the coming days. But if you look at the medals table compared to what we saw last year, when they hosted the 7th edition of the games, the state topped the medals table as Delta now 51 gold as compared to 47, 34 as compared to 14 silver, and 11 bronze as compared to 19 this year. So what could be the difference?
We can't ask that. Start to maybe probably juxtapose the difference as it is right now. 47 medals this time around. Last year was 51. Don't also forget that we have not yet finished some of the activities. The activities will come to an end today. So 51 last year, 47. That is the difference of 4 medals, which they can also close that mark this evening when they come to an end. So it is early days to start judging as it.
But 37 cannot be. I'm not sure that difference will close in the silver medals.
Silver or bronze medals, that actually doesn't really speak volume. If they actually get to win 5 medals today, that shatters all record. So silver or bronze most time is not actually a force to be reckoned in terms of the medals are there. But then, like I said, I think let's just keep our fingers crossed, hoping that this evening when activities will come to hit climax, they can also rack up more medals to see if they can even surpass last year's edition. But one thing very striking about this year's National Youth Game is that we've seen some other states that are relatively not showing any sign of competition or competing effectively well with other states are beginning to, do something great. A state like Kogi, state like Kwara, they are also making their mark out there, not also forgetting Kaduna State. So this is what we want to see in terms of the National Youth Game, where we see state jostling for honors, not just leaving it to the traditional winners. Talk about Lagos State, Delta, Bayelsa. These are names that have been there that always make mark for themselves. I want to see other states in terms of competing, in the medals log. So for me, but then also we must also talk about the essence of this National Youth Game as it comes to a climax today. In 5, 8, 10 years to come, can we actually beat our chest and boast of 100 or even 50 athletes that we've raised from this year's edition of the National Youth Game? This should be the target. The target is not about state toppling the medals log, not about state winning medals, also to themselves. But it's about sport development generally. It's about youth sport development, because this is more like the catch them young that we keep talking about. We've seen some exceptional players out there in this year's edition, some exceptional athletes rather. The likes of Omni, the 8-year-old chess player from Kogi State, very impressive. We saw the likes of Sunday doing pretty well in that regard as well. Even the Muyal that hails from Gombe or which state out there, that actually won 3 gold medals in the gymnastic event, and being the sole representative of his state out there in this year's edition. So in as much as it is good for states out there to jostle for medals, right, in order to finish.
Our performance is what we're looking for from the National Youth Games. I can tell you for sure that the General of Delta State Commission, Festus Ohojero, declared yesterday that Team Delta will still win more gold medals before today's closing ceremony, and the state is eyeing medals in the athletics event. And you know why? Athletics events always come last, and like you said, Mike, this is the grand norm. This is where we're going to see future athletes. But one question I've raised in another platform is, have we seen each of the federations making their impact, showcasing their strength in each of their events? Have we really seen them, participating alongside these young ones?
Well, we haven't really seen each of these.
Because I'm yet to see. Like I asked yesterday, I say, I'm yet to see in each of the events. I expect to see federation when that event is concluded. For example, wrestling, for example, gymnasium. I expect to see the president in one or two, looking at what is happening and making comment. Because if the president visits, media will ask him questions and they will drag out stories from there. But I haven't seen that, except for state-based, where they also talk about their athletes, But I haven't seen this federation went into camp. Maybe because athletics is the man who's at the helm of affairs from Delta State. Maybe we are going to see him there, But I expect, okay, wow, I'm impressed with what is happening. This talent, we have spotted this talent, and this is, I haven't seen that.
I think for me, another thing is about the media angle. I think the publicity for this year's National Youth Game have been very, very poor for me. If some of these federation presidents have also been there to make one or two comments, it's very, very hard for us to lay hand on a very, on such information out there. Just like I said, the media for this year's National Youth Game have been very, very poor. That is just the simple truth. But then we've had some other sport commissions from different states out there congratulating their contingent even while the game is ongoing. Some of them stayed out there in their state to also give their own commendation as well. We haven't really seen most of these sport commissioners or each federation of the different sport discipline to come bold to make one or two statements, which for me, I think is maybe you call it a negligence of duty, because as a president of any federation, any sporting federation, he must be on ground in this kind of massive, sport fiesta to see what is happening, first-hand information, so that you get to assess, the organization or the sporting federation that you are presiding over see the total output of what they are doing out there, and that is where you stand a very good chance of making some adjustment if need be in some areas, but then we haven't heard or even seen most of them coming out to the media to make their own stake known out there, which for me I think is quite disappointing, because you don't actually try to hide or cover some of these things, because the media publicity is key in any sporting fiesta, because they herald the news and also spread it all across board, and the major stakeholders, the major players in the system also come to the front burner to discuss some of the vital issues on how the game is going, on how the organizational structure has been, on the performances of their team and individuals out there, which for me I think is more like a step back to what we had expected, looking at the last edition where the publicity was even much better compared to what we are seeing this year.
And of course, you know that a lot is happening. Like Mike said there, media publicity is key if we must show, the world that something is happening. And still talking about what is happening in the National Youth Games, Gombe State Governor Mohammed Yahaya has lauded Muya Kwaranga. You remember Muya Kwaranga, Mike? We talked about it some time ago when the young lad who represented Gombe State and won, a gold in the category in gymnastics. Now, gymnastics is a very essential one. We saw what is it the US, what's her name? Bile. That lady won almost all. In fact, she's one of the greatest now in gymnastic activities. She won almost all the events. That US lady, I've forgotten her name now. Bill. So I think, yeah. So if we start grooming this young lady now in gymnastics, Muya, that won't be a bad one at all. For the governor to have recognized this young girl, I'm sure that's something big awaits her.
Yes, for me, I think it's a future.
And she's only athlete representing Gombe State.
Yes, I made this very known, earlier, that Muyal is one of the, new talent that we've spotted in this year's National Youth Game. But you begin to ask yourself, in the next 8 years down the line, are we still going to hear of this name? These are just the problem that we have in terms of looking at for this young athlete and also following them up, giving them the platform to also express their talent and continue to grow and possibly hit their peak in their career in life and also achieve their aims and their dream. But then for Muyal, having done so well, is 13-year-old shouldering the burden of a whole state, because she is the sole representative of Gombe State in this year's National Youth Game. Not just winning a medal, but winning 3 gold medals in the gymnastic event. A massive one. And a few days ago, yesterday, I said it, that I'm very disappointed with the sport commissioner of Gombe State, who came out to dole out 100,000 naira. I was like, 100,000 naira? In this economy, is it even enough to offset
consultation, or the bills, or the trainings,
or even to offset her, school fee for a term? Because this is what we are talking about. I said it earlier that the parents of this young lad actually put in so much effort in order to nurture this.
I think that was the deputy sports commission. Sports commission, not necessarily the governor, the commissioner of the state. Okay. I'm sure that gesture attracted the government, because when that was done, I followed that story very well. And then the sports, Swan gave it a voice, and then I'm sure that the governor, because if an individual in the state decided to do something, it's not even the commissioner. We have the sports commission, the man who is at the head of affairs, and this is the deputy. So maybe out of his benevolence, decided to do that. So I don't want to query that. I just feel like it's an incredible. I thought it was 1 million. In fact, some news houses carried it 1 million. But when I checked verified, I had to discover that it was 100,000. He donated to the young lad, and that kind of gesture now sprouted the news being heralded across board. So why I think that money is small, I still feel that the man should be giving some kudos for at least doing something out of nothing. After all, we have the sports commissioner, we have the person in charge of the school sports in the state So they should do their own. The man has done his own, Mike. So that's what I think.
It's more like saying, you know, half loaf of bread
Is
is
that
better
a lot?
than none, but then there's a kind of hunger that will be on your side. In fact, that half loaf of bread might even trigger more, you know, warm reactions within your, you know, stomach. So for me, I think I cannot sit here to begin to give commendation for giving such an athlete that carried the burden of a whole state on her shoulder at such tender age, 13. And the only reward is to give her 100,000 naira. I think it's quite disappointing. It is an appalling one, and I believe that the state governor, talking about the Gombe State governor and their sport commission, are also looking at things, because this is going to be a very demoralizing situation for other young athletes out there that will be hoping to do the state proud. If you discover that at your tender age, even if you like, shoulder the responsibility of your whole state, you know, coming to the national youth game, you're winning not just medal, 3 gold medals, and you are giving 100,000 naira. Could that be a motivating factor for others to follow? No. So it is not encouraging, you know, for me. The types of reward system has been always a problem here. Then, on the other angle, you may want to say, okay, that at age 13, she need not to be exposed maybe to money at this point in time. But then, we are not saying give her the money on her own palms. This money will go to the parents. Maybe you give it to the parent. The parent will look after her, because the parent nurtured her. The parent, you know, sent her to school and other expenditures. So you are not giving the child the money so that you will not say, okay, she's still too tender at age 13 to be exposed to money. You are not giving it to to her directly. You are giving it to the parent, so that the parent can probably make good use of it, pay her tuition fee, transportation fee, and all of that. You know, that will also encourage other young lads out there to start, you know, discovering their own talent in different sporting units, and also continue to grow from there. So then, reward system, we need to improve on that if we truly want to also keep our athletes and sportsmen and women on their toes to continue doing the country and the state proud.
We need to, of course, the reward system in the Nigerian sporting scene needs to be upgraded if we need to enhance. The economy is really biting. I mean, it's not funny anymore. And so athletes, you know, when they have done well, gotten podium performances, there's need to motivate them, there's need to enhance them, there's need to push them. And part of that is the reward system, because it's only he who has eaten very well that can perform very well. And you know that adage. All right, we are still bringing you sport news, and of course, let's move now to Lagos State, where the Lagos State University and University of Lagos are set to host the 11th edition of the Federation of African University Sports Games, which will start on Friday, September 20th. That's tomorrow, Mike.
Yes, and I think they are ready. The first time we are seeing 2 universities collaborating, you know, more like a perfect combo for these 2 universities in Lagos State, to also ensure that this one, you know, gain that needed recognition that it desire. And of course, they've actually put everything in place. You know, was actually going through some of their page a few hours ago to actually check things on ground. And from what I discovered, I think they are very, very ready for this one to, you know, get go. So for Lagos State, it is where to be within the few days to come.
Lagos State, of course, I'll get to see, and some of the stuff that we have right now, we'll get to see how it pans out. I'm sure we're going to follow that to bring you more news, you know, from Lagos in regards to the games. Away from that, African Games bronze medalist Pieti Lucky will captain Nigeria's under-19 girls as they travel to Rwanda for next year's ICC, that is International Cricket under-19 Women's Cricket World Cup qualifiers. The Nigerian Cricket Federation on Tuesday announced the 14 players roster for the rescheduled qualifiers, which will be played from September 22nd to 29th in Kigali, Rwanda.
Yeah, I think it has been a very good preparation. They started preparation 2 weeks ago for this very one, and all things are set as they are ready to jet out and compete or vie for one of the tickets for African continent for the under-19 cricket World Cup that is set to take place next year. Let's hope that they are going to go out there and get the needed result and come back and continue to prepare for more qualifiers game to come.
And then let's also hope that this will be. And then moving on, His Excellency Sheyi Makinde has emphasized that the Ibadan Marathon will boost the local businesses, create jobs, and strengthen community bonds. He made a statement during a World Press Conference in Ibadan, where he was represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Woshilat Adegoke, and the governor further highlighted the marathon's role in promoting Ibadan's cultural heritage, attracting visitors from across Nigeria and beyond, and spawning economic growth. The Ibadan Marathon is a joint initiative between the Oyo State government and Savi Events to position Oyo State as a hub for sports, commerce, and entertainment. These days, I know sports is a veritable tool for economic development and social stability, as well as talent discovery. But Mike, these days it looks like every state wants to host a marathon for the sake of hosting marathon. And I'll tell you this, what has happened since Rivers State hosted the marathon? What benefit have we accrued from those ones? Edo State is next in line.
For me, I think in as much as it is good for us to use sport as a driving vehicle towards economic expansion and development, it is also good for some of these states to be realistic in terms of doling out money to organize this kind of a massive sport adventure, not just for the transient moment, but will it actually stand the test of time? This is a big question. I think the only one marathon race that we can beat our chest and say yes, over the years since its inception, they've been able to maintain that high standard is the Okpekpe race that have actually been able to sustain that momentum. In fact, as it is, the World Athletic Body have given it its a platinum label as it is right now. We talk about Lagos Marathon as well. These are the two marathons that we say, yeah, we've been able to see more like the sustainability of such a sporting or marathon event. In time past, you used to hear of Obudu Mountain Race out there in Cross River. Obudu Mountain Race was one of the West Africa most touted races across Africa here. But then, at some point, we no longer hear about the Obudu Mountain Race again, and it just died naturally. And for me, it's a big worry. You talked about Rivers State as well, also towing that line. But then what benefit have we actually gotten from that? I know that it is a long-time plan. It's not just one-off thing, according to the Commission of Sport right here in Rivers State for that race out there. But then let's hope that it's going to live up to the expectation. And for this one that is coming, I don't know how effective it is. I don't know how far they've actually planned for this very one. But from the organizers, we learned they've also gotten the nod of a World Athletic Body. So with such a collaboration with the body that be, I think they are going to take it very serious and see how they can actually get a label, for this very one, so that at least it stands the test of time.
It stands the test of time, and I can tell you for sure that that's what we're hoping to see. Let's move over now to wrestling before we take our first break on the show, where the president of Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Mr. Daniel Igali, has declined to seek re-election next year. The Canadian Olympic gold medalist noted that his decision was because of lack of government support ever since he was elected as the federation leader 12 years ago. Mike, your reaction to what Igali is saying?
That is how disappointing the system is. If Daniel Igali, who has seen it all in the global stage, and also well-to-do, I mean, he is very comfortable as an individual after retiring from the game, before he now was, given that position as it is right now. Now he's complaining about lack of financial support since he came into office, and that is the primary reason why he will not be gunning for re-election, as it is next year. Now, one thing that will come to your mind is, this is Daniel Igali, one who had also been there through the thick and thin to represent the country, to actually, put our name on the map. Of course, you cannot forget what Daniel Igali has brought to Nigeria in terms of wrestling. The reputation that we've gotten today is courtesy of some of his brilliant performance when he was still active, representing the country on international stage. Now, I said he is a man that is doing pretty well individually. What if it was somebody that wasn't doing pretty well and got that opportunity to serve as the the commissioner in that regard? Don't you think that even the little money that will come from the sport federation, he will even try to corner it just to make himself comfortable first?
True.
But this is somebody that is already comfortable. Coming to assume that position is crying for financial support from the federation. What if it is someone that isn't financially stable that assumed that position? You know what it is? The little money that would have come into it, he would now pocket it. So for me, I think lack of financial support is a big issue in administrative system, because without finance you can't actually run any firm or any organization effectively, even though sometimes most motivational speakers, they will tell you that money is not everything, just have the idea and all of that. Of course, it's good. Money might not be the key thing, but then, the truth must be stated. You may have the ideas, you have what it takes to get things done, but at some point in time where you cannot rule away the strength of money, the strength of finance in trying to also drive that good ideas that you have upstairs. So I think for me it's a disappointing one. The sum of 32 billion naira was allocated to the sport ministry by the federal government in the budget for this very year. Then 32 billion naira, how many sporting units do we have in the country? It's about 33 or 35 thereabouts. So if you are sharing it 1 billion to different sport ministries, is that good enough to run any ministry for the whole year? So it's a big challenge. And then again, all the federation, they must also try to think outside the box on how to also get sponsors, get philanthropists, get sportmen and women that are enthusiasts in the game. Try to bring them in. Try to rebrand the sporting system in your own area that you find yourself, and see where you can be able to sell it, so that you get more sponsors, not rightly the sport. So for me, these are things that we need to do, so that we don't keep complaining about positive or fund, because it looks as though if the sport ministry did not cover any money, they are dormant, they can't do anything. No, it shouldn't be that way. You must use what you have to get what you want. If you organize your ministry, your federation very well, I tell you, sponsors will come to put in their money there.
All right, we're going to short break now. When we come back, we'll have more to talk about this morning on Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today.
All right, welcome back. It's still Sports OK on Atlantic Television Network. I still have Mike here in studio, of course. I have a lot to talk about.
Enyimba going away to get a very vital away draw, though not a good one for the standard of Enyimba, who have also been a force in terms of the CAF organized competition. Don't also forget that they have a very rich history, and that is why during the coefficient, Enyimba could not play in the first stage because they are one of among some of the clubs in Africa that have actually shown much prowess in terms of the CAF Champions League, and that is why the history behind these two clubs. I think Enyimba is more experienced in terms of the CAF organized competition to compare to 12 Filante, but then this time around, Enyimba will be playing at home, though not their home ground, but then it's more like a home away from home. I expect Enyimba to get the job done and thus
if everything is properly done, Rangers can get their hands on this particular one and ensure that they move on. You know, the game ended 1-0 in the first leg. Let's hope that they can get more goals. You know, because playing away from home, you need to prepare for the unexpected.
Yes, for me, I think for Rangers, there will be what Fidelis get up scoring. Yeah, they might actually commit you, you know, by causing a penalty in your own 18-yard box, and that is how you pay for it. So the defensive mindset is just because you want to protect a slimmer goal advantage is going to prove very, very abortive, especially for any Rangers that will be playing away from home. So I expect Fidelis Ilechukwu to come up with his tactical masterclass in this counter to get the better and Enugu Rangers to push us through.
And let's see how far that goes. Meanwhile, AC Milan boss Paoli, has been appointed, Stefano Paoli, as the coach of the side. And if you talk about Paoli, you know that he will be coaching Cristiano Ronaldo now. The Italian replaces Luis Castro, who was, ousted us from the office a few days ago due to non-performance and poor results. Well,
he started his coaching career with Salernitana in Italy. Over the years, he has actually dwelled in his hometown at the Pro League. And of course, coming to Al Nassr, I think it's about money as well, and also about trying to also continue to enhance his CV in terms of his coaching CV. But this is the third time a coach has been sacked under Cristiano Ronaldo as a player of Al Nassr. Stefano Pioli coming this time around, to also link up with Cristiano Ronaldo for good, because I think for Al Nassr they need to win something very massive. And going by the way they actually started the league, it hasn't been an impressive one. And in their Asian Champions League out there is not a good Pioli. Let's hope that he is the man that is going to at least give Al Nassr something to cheer home about, especially vying for the title this season and also doing pretty well in their Champions League.
And of course, let's move on now. Yesterday we saw the fourth round of the Carabao Cup, and get to know that the Brighton impressive start to the season continued after progressing to the Carabao Cup fourth round following a battling win over Wolves.
It's a nice one for Brighton, and their coach Fabian Vosla is doing pretty well at 31 years. He has, for Brighton, they seems to always know how to get it right in terms of getting a coach, a young coach that understands the philosophy of the team, and also building young talent and making huge amount of money from such a talent out there. I think the man talking about Fabian has done pretty well against a very stubborn Wolves side. They were still able to turn to them. They continue to show that indeed they have what it takes to nurture talent and get the result. Don't forget how they were able to make out a contract in a winning line.
Let's move on now to wrap up today's edition of the show to the ever-busy and glamorous UEFA Champions League continues day 2. The one in, of course...
to actually defeat them and lifted their first UEFA Champions League trophy, in 2023. And more like a repeat of that. That is what we saw when Inter Milan came out, gun blazing, at Etihad. They couldn't grant Manchester City that luxury of space to also, settle down and think of what to do with the ball. And that is a perfect way, to play Manchester City. Don't allow them that luxury of time on the ball to think what they want to do with the ball and knock the ball around and disorganize and destabilize your defense. Inter Milan, I think their coach out there need to be given some, kudos. I think yesterday's game, I think for me, it lived up to what a Champions League match should be.
It lived up to what they won their first game in a very long time. Training ended against RB Salzburg in that particular one, and of course that name Olatunji rings a bell. Victor Olatunji, a Nigerian player who was, in fact, he was a thorn in the flesh. I watched that game, thorn in the flesh of the Sparta Prague players there.
Yeah, for me, I think one of the highlights of that game was when he raised up his inner shirt to display, "I am a chosen, who are you?" And Nigeria, we have a way of trying to make headline, both for the good and for the bad reason. But this time is for the good reason. Of course, you know what is going around in terms of a certain church that is also making wave because of one trend or the other. So the young man, even still far away, still has the Niger spirit. He's been following up with the trend in Niger out there. When he scored, he raised up his inner wear to display that sign, "I am a chosen, who are you?" Of course, we are chosen by God as well, so for me. And it was an impressive display. First Nigerian to